Hermitcraft isn't just a Minecraft server, it's also a social community, one that has several layers of participation. There are the Hermits ourselves, of course, playing and creating content together. Then you, the audience, who watch and comment and also subscribe, wink wink nudge nudge. But there is also a fascinating layer in between, the fandom, fan communities, creating and sharing fan art together, discussion forums like the Hermitcraft subreddit, and Wikipedias that provide a deeper dive into the history and lore behind the name. And of course the endless proliferation of Hermitcraft memes. Seriously, it feels like there is no end to them. Speaking of these layers, there is another wedged between us Hermits and your fan communities. These are the official Patreon servers and Discord channels, where many of you play and participate with us in a more direct nature. The reason I mention this will become relevant shortly in relation to this video's title. So, a brief recap. In the last video, I not only explained the ins and outs of how our server is run, but also how my perceived role as admin or leader of Hermitcraft has changed. That change has given me much time to reflect on the years spent attempting to do my best for this group of wonderful people. But it's not only Hermitcraft. Over these years, I've run various iterations of my own community with its ups and downs along the way. The story begins with XPD, Xisuma's plot world domain, a public server where I had an amazing experience collaborating and interacting with my audience in many different ways. This involved working with others in a widely different manner from what I was used to. Eventually it evolved into a minigame server, a collaboration with my longtime friend DocM77, known as the Respawn Network. To this day, I still miss some of the fantastic games we designed together, and luckily a few have been preserved in the form of custom maps you can download and play. Unfortunately, its survival never worked out and the remnants were rebranded as the Xisumaverse. Nowadays, it's the Let's Play Minecraft Together server, now in its third season, my equivalent of what's often branded as a Patreon SMP. So what's this got to do with Hermitcraft? Well, I am trying to show that I've had a history alongside it, with its fair share of ups and downs. The bumps along the way have taught me many lessons, and with the awareness of my position and the responsibility that comes with it, I've strived to learn, improve and grow. Of course, you can't always get it right, but after all these years, I feel as if I have value to share with you. However, much of what I will discuss doesn't deal with the specifics, but thoughts, wisdoms, and attitudes that can inform decision making and leading others. Of course, I can never touch on the actual specifics of events encountered, as that would be disrespectful to the privacy of our group. As we touched on last time, the question, how do you run the Hermitcraft server, can mean many things, and in this video, we focus on the role of leadership and the lessons that came with it. Before we get to the social aspect of Hermitcraft, we should talk about expectations. If you came here thinking this video was the answer to running a successful Minecraft community, then you are mistaken. I will share what I believe has helped Hermitcraft thrive through the years, but it is an outlier among the many SMPs that rise and swiftly fall. The beginning of a server is an enticing time, the promise of great things brew in the imagination of a player's mind. Yet as time goes to pass, people drop off, the motivation to play fades, and the novelty of the early game loses its charm. So often do these scenarios swiftly feel like a single player world, and thus a community falls apart in the lack of activity. Early on, Hermitcraft was fortunate to weather these storms. Through patches of inactivity and pessimistic forecasts, we made it. The question you are wondering is perhaps how. And I think the answer is motivation. Although all players today will likely have access to the tools to record and publish their own videos, Hermitcraft started in the industry's infancy. It was a coming together of established channels, who at the time had substantial subscriber counts, that today would seem like nothing compared to the platform's biggest channels. Not only were we motivated to make videos, we were all keen to explore playing together and undertaking a new and novel cultural happening. Today, a Minecraft Let's Play is done and done. You've seen it 100 times, but back then in 2012, it was an exciting and new type of medium, that being video entertainment overlapping with a social game environment. And so with the success that brought, motivations were maintained and onlookers would be keen to join in. As we recruited, the positive feedback loop was reinforced and Hermitcraft could be relied on as an active place to play together with your friends, thus giving it the longevity it endures to this day. When you set out to start your own community, keep this in mind. Wanting the success of a Hermitcraft is an expectation that will set you up for failure. The odds of achieving this in the current environment are extremely unlikely, regardless of how creative and talented you and your friends may be. Not only do you need to have exceptional talent, you also need exceptional luck to capture the audience's attention. With this in mind, let success not be defined by aspirations outside of your control. Instead, focus on what you yourself can bring to a community, what you can make happen for yourself and other players. Organizing communal events and play sessions are at the heart of a good experience, and that's what a community needs for its players to have a good time. If the promise is of grandeur, if not obtained, it may all fall apart. So, leadership. Originally, I never aspired for such a role, not just in Hermitcraft but life in general, and since then I've come to lead a few aforementioned projects and communities along the way. I wasn't attracted to such a position, yet fearing Hermitcraft might have fallen apart without a leader, I felt I had to take a leap to step up and secure its future. And I cannot take responsibility for Hermitcraft's success. I may never know where my actions steered it, in comparison to, say, an alternative universe where I never stepped up to do so. We cannot make that comparison, of course. It will forever remain a mystery, and I've made mistakes and blunders along the way too. I've been stubborn and gotten decisions wrong. The wisdoms I've learned have been through errors and mishaps, and also by taking an active role in listening to others willing to share their advice. The following thoughts are a result of the last 10 years and the many experiences it brought. A common thing you'll hear is to lead by example, and it's true. If you want an active server, then you'll need to be active yourself. Be a reflection of what you want to see. For me, this was creating regular videos, getting together with hermits in the game, and the organization of regular meetings. It's essential to communicate and understand each other's wants and needs. Figuring out time zones and coordinating availability is messy, but worthwhile to have a common time to commune. When together, all relevant topics of the time can be discussed. And everyone should be able to bring a topic or issue to the agenda, and as leader, one needs to keep the conversation on track while hearing out the thoughts and opinions of all involved. One must then figure out the wants and needs of the group and delegate the responsibilities to meet those ends. It can be all too easy to try and do everything yourself, but splitting up the workload puts faith in others and gives everyone a sense of participating as opposed to following. This is something I wish I'd learned earlier on, as in the past I tried to do more than I was capable of. Together you are stronger, and good leadership is less about moving a herd and more about teamwork. It is also helpful to keep logs and records of group decisions, mostly in the form of meeting notes, so you not only have a history of decisions, but the means for absent players to stay informed as well. This brings me to communication. Keeping players informed and looped in creates a welcoming environment. Consistently over the years, I would inform everyone individually about meeting times and upcoming events. I probably seemed like a pest, always informing the hermits about the details of our discussions, the when and where and how of things, but by keeping everyone in the loop, it made it much easier to participate. When I get questions from the audience about how we deal with spoilers, group events, and live stream days, the answer is always communication. If not encouraged, these things can fall wayside. As of today, we have a neatly organized Discord server full of information on mods, technical details, video editing resources, and art assets, as well as places for discussion regarding the server, shopping district, collabs, and spoilers. Communication is good, but organized communication is better. And lastly, communication is a two-way street. Listening is just as important as reciting. Making the voices in your community heard is important, even if those voices don't align with the decisions made, as we will discuss next. Getting together as a group and making decisions is vital. Staying stagnant and not reacting to changing situations is rarely good, but there are times when coming down to a definite conclusion is not what's required. You'd have to use your own judgment as for when and why. When making a decision as a large group, not everyone can have their way, and that's okay. Fostering an atmosphere of understanding for the greater good of a community means that members may not see eye to eye on everything, but getting hung up on the disagreements about the details of a computer game is counterproductive to the fun of playing together. This is the art of compromise. The appreciation that if we row in the same direction, we will get to an intended destination. Otherwise, we risk going in circles. This is why listening is so important. We don't always get what we want, but what really hurts is not being able to voice that disagreement. Upon these principles, we have been able to navigate big decisions, how to end a season, decide what mods and data packs we should or should not use. It's about letting everyone voice their opinions and figuring out the general consensus of the room, where the majority lies and if it's good for everyone to move in that direction. As you might have seen, there are no definitive answers to these questions. If you came here looking for a binary answer, then I assure you this is more helpful as each and every situation is unique, complete with its own set of variables that need to be considered. Lastly, a very common question that's asked is how do we deal with the recruitment and departure of hermits? As you might have guessed, it's about communication. If someone wants to talk about recruiting, we make sure there is a time for it, and everyone gets to share their feelings on the idea. Going around the table and giving everyone a chance to speak up leads the discussion to its next phase, and sometimes that ends up with a consensus that can be acted upon. Equally, when it comes to hermits leaving the group, there are no hard feelings. Although a job for many of us now, this started as a place for Minecraft friends to play together, and we like to retain that spirit. Everyone has their own lives, emotions and reasonings, and if the time comes that someone desires to move on from the group, we accept that and wish them the best with whatever they do next. Although it can be disappointing to see someone go, we must respect their wishes over our own emotions. In the spirit of what we have just discussed, transparency is also a key concept that has proven to be very beneficial in leadership for all involved. To be transparent is to lay out one's cards face up on the table. This lets everyone understand intentions and expectations, then you can navigate the alignments and conflicts of interest that emerge. I found this immensely helpful in creating good working relationships with the people who do work related to my channel. This form of open communication helps address both the emotional and rational needs we have as humans. In the past, when I was yet to learn of this concept, I often ended up in situations where things did not work simply because of different perceptions of expected outcomes. Transparency has been of immense value. Like last time, this video was made in affiliation with Logic servers. If all of this discussion has you fired up for playing with friends again, they not only host Minecraft but lots of other games too. Best of all, they offer dedicated servers like Hermitcraft has. They also offer one-click installs for over 700 mod packs as well as snapshots and bedrock. You get the point. Interested? With promo code Xisuma you can get 20% off, so click the link in the description box and get 20% off your first purchase. In the next chapter of this trilogy, we will explore the Hermitcraft origin story, and it, like this video, will be a part of my new Minecraft discussions playlist. It's full of videos like this one, so have a browse and see if there's something new for you to watch. And on that note, thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you soon.